Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about the marketing analysis of Tim Hortons Espresso. And there is a first part. First, in order to achieve effective marketing, we analyze Tim Hortons marketing strategy from 5 aspects. We explore the strengths and weakness of 3 alternatives under 4 criteria. Finally, we will give them some useful recommendation to have them success in marketing. Yeah.
So ever since the pandemic, everyone has been significantly impacted. And in terms of Tim Hortons' typical rush hour is in the morning, and that's typically where businessmen and working adults just pass by Tim's to grab a cup of coffee or a quick breakfast sandwich before they go to work. And ever since COVID, their sales have declined dramatically. But not only that, they also face intense competition within the coffee market. So Tim's needs to develop their espresso to gain more market share and to increase their sales.
So, I'll be going over the analysis, and more specifically, the internal analysis. So, some of the strengths of Tim Hortons is that they are a well established brand in Canada and have very strong ties to Canadian culture. They also have over 3,500 locations across the country as of 2023. The stores are widely accessible and convenient for consumers, as many of their locations are available 24/7 and offer drive through services. Some of the weaknesses are they've faced concerns over the years for their inconsistent quality of their products across different locations, and this can lead to a negative impact on consumers and their satisfaction. They're also heavily reliant on their breakfast sales for their revenue, which can make them vulnerable to changes in consumer behavior. As for research and development, more recently in 2021, they invested $80 million in digital tools and in their mobile app. Yeah. Now I'll be going over the marketing mix. So for product and price, the normal espresso in Tim Hortons will go for $1.49, and the double shot will go for $1.99. Other forms of this product are lattes, cappuccinos, and Americanos. For place and promotion, as I stated before, they have 3,500 locations in Canada, with most of them residing in cities, with others residing in urban areas. You can also find some in gas stations. However, 51% of these locations are actually located in Ontario. For promotion, they've had many different types of promotion over the years. One of their more favorable ones is the Roll Up the Rim campaign. Some other types would be TV ads, which they usually use to associate with Canadian culture.
So Tim Hortons faces a unique economic environment due to COVID-19 and rising inflation in Canada. And so due to the COVID-19 pandemic, it's really impacted Tim Hortons, and they've had to shut down an eighth of their permanent locations. And then in terms of inflation, due to rising inflation rates, Tim Hortons has been forced to raise their prices in Canada. And this has actually benefited Tim Hortons as they've had an increase in revenue post the inflation rate rising.
So Tim Hortons mainly targets its brand towards business people, families, students, and working adults. It creates a setting where people can quickly grab a coffee or snack before leaving to work, and the availability and the affordability of Tim's um, makes it super convenient for students as well, because it often falls within the student budget, and it's also conveniently located either near the campus or on a school campus if you're a Canadian university student. And it also offers free Wi-Fi, which is a major plus for both students and working adults, because it allows them to have an environment to complete their work.
So, there are two pictures shows the market size. The coffee sector gets to 30 billion in revenue, and the growth rate is 5%. Meanwhile, coffee sales are reached 250 million kilometer, and the growth rate of volume is 2%.
So there's a huge demand for coffee in our current market. Coffee is widely known and it's loved by a majority of people around the world. And globally, it's an industry of worth more than $100 billion, and it remains one of the largest commodities traded.
So the factors that could affect the demand of the coffee industry would be income, health awareness, price, quality, and taste.
Well, as the flow shows, farmers produce coffee beans in their origin country, and the intermediate ship them to the store in the importing country. As we all know, in-person sales main channel of coffee. Meanwhile, online sales are also becoming an increasingly popular channel.
It's important to judge all of our alternatives through the same lens. And so the criteria that we'll be using throughout are these 5 listed here. The first one is we want to make sure that it nets an increase in sales and an increase in our market share. Number 2 is we want to expand or alter our previous target markets. 3, we want to increase the market share of coffee drinkers, especially in older demographics. 4, we want to appeal to Canadian culture and to the Canadian consumers. And number 5, we want to make sure that it's cost effective. And so the first alternative that we'll be evaluating is the implementation of espresso in the Roll Up to Rim campaign and adding a physical roll up the rim. So the benefits of this sort of campaign is it'll capitalize on the nostalgia that the physical roll up the rim has, as well as it'll help target the older demographic who are the largest consumers of coffee. And the downside of this is the cost associated with it. So the printing of additional codes on cups will increase logistics and production costs.
So the second alternative will be a pop-up espresso bar or bars. They'll be set up in high traffic areas that will have high visibility, and they'll be in shopping malls, universities, and downtown areas that will provide excellent visibility to for the brand and to reach a lot of consumers. They'll be targeting on-the-go customers such as businessmen. By offering free samples and discounts for first-time consumers, that can encourage them to try Tim Hortons espresso products, leading to increased trial and potential sales. Some of the downsides is the operational complexity. Creating and managing the pop-up espresso bar requires additional operational complexity, such as hiring staff and training staff, obtaining permits, and managing inventory and equipment. Furthermore, they're also temporary, and their effectiveness as a long-term strategy is limited. The third alternative is a collaboration with the well-known Canadian actor Ryan Reynolds. Like the recent campaign with Justin Bieber, the Tim Biebs campaign, we wanted to kind of capitalize on that and do something similar. This would target Canadian patriots and fans of Reynolds. He's also very passionate about his Canadian heritage, which will also work to our benefit. For this to be a viable option, we would want to produce the same amount of sales. So Tim Biebs increased sales of Tim Hortons by approximately 10%. So we'd want to have this similar results, essentially.
So with that being said, our final recommendation is to implement the new Roll Up the Rim campaign instead of the pop-up espresso bar or the collaboration with Ryan Reynolds. We weighed out the pros and cons, and we realized that the pop-up espresso bar would be too costly, and the collaboration with Ryan Reynolds may not appeal to many customers if they're not fans of Reynolds. The new campaign of Roll Up the Rim will target older and younger people, and it can also target Canadians who feel nostalgic for the old Roll Up the Rim method. And yeah, that is what we concluded with our Tim Hortons marketing strategy. Thank you.